This show is not intended for the politically correct or the close-minded. Enter at the risk of opening your eyes. You have been warned.
Why does the media attack an issue? To get primetime ratings?
In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in.
The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
A moment comes when we step out from the old to the new, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance.
To kind of catapult the propaganda.
You are listening to Open Eyes with your host, Ira Robinson. From the normal to the paranormal, from government cover-ups to the depths of our consciousness, we aim to explore all things. From the dawn of prehistory to current events, no topic is forbidden and nothing remains hidden.
No more secrets.
Open your eyes and open your mind to the fact that life as we know it is not as we have been taught. Join us at LateNightInTheMidlands.com or OpenEyesNetwork.com as we take this brief journey through the depths of the cosmos and explore what it really means to be human.
Many peoples have sacrificed their liberties, only to learn to their sorrow that deceit and mockery, poverty and tyranny are their reward.
Whether you're online or offline, intercontinental or intergalactic, hello, and welcome to Open Eyes. It is Monday. It is, May 9th. I'm sorry. Boy, oh boy, my days are really off, and it kind of fits with the topic tonight, I guess. And we are live tonight. If you guys want to give a call tonight, you can do so. The number is 260-494-3937. Our Skype line is JDA Film, or as always, you can reach us in the chat room at LNMRadio or OpenEyesNetwork.com. Both of those places have the same chat room, and they're connected together. You guys can get in and talk and join the community. We have a big community of people, and there's all kinds of great conversations that go on. In fact, the topic of tonight was inspired by some of the conversations that were going on this weekend on the chat room, and so we'll get to that in just a moment. You can also join us on YouTube. We are live streaming onto YouTube as basically always at this point. So we are kind of at this point just still getting used to everything, getting our feet wet with it all. So pardon any kind of bugs or strange things that go on with it. But if you want to join us on YouTube, you can do so. The YouTube link is youtube.com/C/Open Eyes Network. And if you put a /live afterwards, you'll be able to watch the video directly. If you come into the chat room as well over at LNMRadioNetwork.com, we are continually dropping the link for the YouTube video stream in there. So you guys can you can get in there, you can chat, you can watch the video at the same time. It's pretty cool. So tonight's topic is one that is kind of near and dear to my heart. I've talked about it on the show a couple of times, although I've never really considered naming it this, but the weird thing is that I'm not the only one that's experienced it, which kind of shocks me because I always thought that I was a little crazy for it, but it's something that I've dealt with for a number of years, and again, it's a little bit of a weird topic, but we'll see where it goes. The topic is going to be the Mandela effect. That's pretty much what it's termed. That's the name that it's been termed by those that are experiencing it, and it should be pretty interesting. We'll get into that probably in the second half. It's going to take a little bit of time to talk about, but I think that it'll be really interesting. Tonight I will be joined by Jolene eventually. She's not with us at this present moment because she's trying to handle an issue that literally just came up about 10 minutes before the show. So she'll be joining us as soon as she is free and able to get into the room with her little studio back there. And as soon as she's in, we'll bring her in. So until then, it'll just be me. Haha. You guys can deal with it. So We've had a heck of a week. We had last week, for those that aren't aware, we had a lot of really bad problems going on here at Open Eyes Network. In fact, network wide, really, over at LNM Radio Network, there was some issues. We had a really major viral attack hit us last week, and it got to the point where we had to completely format the system. We pretty much lost everything that we had saved up to that point, as far as like archives of shows and all that kind of stuff goes. We at least had backups of it all, but you know, it just sucks to have to format the drives and everything. So we've kind of been recovering ever since then, trying to get all the different software installed back where it needs to be, and you know, the various settings and tweaks and all that kind of stuff. We're still working on it. So unfortunately, you guys might still have to deal with a few bugs here and there. And if you guys could let me know for sure if you are hearing the audio and seeing the video and everything, you know, in a decent way over in the chat room, I would definitely appreciate it. It would be good, because again, we're still trying to deal with everything, you know, trying to deal with the recovery of all the settings and stuff that we had. It just sucks, man. I really hate viruses. I hate having to deal with them. I really hate the people that create them. You know, they just do it to troll. But again, we weren't the only ones that had to deal with it. Ryan Gable, he had to deal with some stuff. He's the host of the Secret Teachings over at thesecretteachings.info. He had to deal with a lot of stuff this week. He was internetless for a while, and you know, there was issues as far as Michael goes. Michael Vera, the host of Late Night in the Midlands over at LNMRadioNetwork.com. He had a lot of issues going on, and he's still got some issues going on as far as hardware goes. So it's just kind of been one of those weeks, I guess. Last week we had, 5 planets that were in retrograde. We've still got some issues that are going on with all of that. We had the whole Beltane Festival happening, which, you know, we didn't even really talk about the whole Beltane and fire mixed together and all that kind of stuff, because on Friday, we started getting the information of this whole city up in Alberta, Canada, that started to burn down, basically. I mean, just, you know, the whole fire and dealing with everything. It's crazy. People look at me like I'm nuts when I talk about this stuff, and that this stuff really does have an impact on what happens around us. But I'm not wrong. I've seen it over and over where, you know, certain time periods of the year or certain things occur, and suddenly we see, you know, issue after issue happen during those time periods. And well, you know, it becomes pretty obvious when you've dealt with it for this long that there is something to it all. I don't know. I don't think I'm crazy, but that's just the way I see it. So we had to deal with all of that. It was a mess all the way around. I'm glad that you guys have been patient with me through all of it. We've also had kind of a good thing, bad thing happen as well last week. My eldest daughter, she came to stay with us. She'll be here for maybe a few weeks. And so there was a little bit of bad news on her part, but the good news on our part is that we get to spend a lot of time with our grandbaby. So Rowan is here, and we've been really enjoying the company with him, and being able to spend some time with him. So, you know, it kind of... Again, good news, bad news thing. And I guess that shows that everything also goes in balance, right? So it's been good. We've been having a great time with him, and hopefully they get to stay for a little while, and we can enjoy his company. And then, you know, of course, Mother's Day, we had to celebrate Mother's Day, and you know, a belated happy Mother's Day to all of my cool moms that are out there that listen to the show and pay attention. I didn't get a chance to wish you a happy Mother's Day yesterday, but you know, to me, every day should be Mother's Day, because the mothers, without mothers, where would we be, right? We literally would not be here. So mothers to me are very special, and they need to be treated as such. They don't need just a day. We need to make sure we appreciate our moms every day, and make sure that we thank them for all that they do, because, boy, I'll tell you, my mom had the patience of a saint to be with me. So... just the way it is. And, you know, of course, all the fathers that are out there, you know, I think that they need to have more than a day. And the Father's Day, the Mother's Day, we all, you know, take them out to dinner and make sure that they're nice and well treated, give them flowers and gifts. And what do fathers get? Well, they get to go out and mow the lawn, or maybe grill on the, on the grill for dinner or something, and that's a Father's Day. So anyways, I do have some news for you guys as far as news that I've run across, and I want to go ahead and cover these. Unfortunately, again, Jolene's not here to kind of banter with, but that's okay. She'll join us as soon as she can, and as soon as she's off the phone with the various things that were going on. Again, it just came up like literally 10 minutes before the show started. So, okay, so I ran across an article on Yahoo that I was not really surprised about, but I thought I'd bring it to everybody's attention because, wow, this is just, have we gotten to this point in this world where this is the case? So listen to this. There was an Ivy League professor who said that his flight was delayed because his fellow passenger thought that the math equations that he was writing might be a sign that he was a terrorist. So here's the story. American Airlines confirms that the woman expressed suspicions about University of Pennsylvania economics professor Guido Menzio. She said she was too ill to take the Air Wisconsin operated flight. Menzio said that he was flying from Philadelphia to Syracuse on Thursday and was solving a differential equation related to a speech that he was to give at Queen's University in Ontario, Canada. He said the woman sitting next to him passed a note to a flight attendant and the plane headed back to the gate. Menzio, who is Italian and has curly dark hair, said the pilot then asked for a word and he was questioned by an official. Now, he said, quote, "I thought they were trying to get clues about her illness. Instead, they told me that this woman was concerned that I was a terrorist because I was writing strange things on a pad of paper." Really? Menzio said he explained what he had been doing, and the flight took off soon afterwards. He was treated respectfully throughout, he said, but he said he was concerned about a delay that a brief conversation or an internet search could have resolved. Now, he said, not seeking additional information after reports of suspicious activity is going to create a lot of problems, especially as xenophobic attitudes may be emerging. An American spokesman, Casey Norton, said Air Wisconsin crew followed protocol to take care of an ill passenger and then to investigate her allegations. Norton wouldn't specify the details of the allegations, but said officials determined them to be non-credible. The woman was rebooked on a later flight. Now, I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this. If you want to call in at this, please let me know. 260-494-3937. I'd love to see what you guys think about this. Now, I noticed that the article, and this is what happens over and over again with stuff that's like this. I noticed that the article doesn't reveal the name of the woman who thought that he was a terrorist. I mean, it reveals his name. His name appears in the article, Guido Menzio, sorry. The article even tells you where he works so that you can find him. So remember with this, he's the innocent person in all of this. He's the one that was innocent of anything, and yet he's the one that is being treated as if he's a terrorist still. Because they wrote this article, they gave his name, they even gave where he worked. But this woman's name was not revealed. No information about who she is or anything about her was revealed. Now, she's the one that's guilty of not having the brains or the common sense to simply even ask him what he's doing. Instead, she takes it upon herself to nosy neighbor and tell a flight attendant that, oh, he's writing terrorist things. I'm scared. I mean, and have we gotten to the point where somebody writing math equations is worthy of being investigated as a freaking terrorist? That somebody just writing math is a potential terrorist? I mean, this is the insanity of the world that we've now come to be in. And maybe this is all part of the whole Mandela effect too. Maybe that's part and parcel of the whole kit and caboodle as far as the Mandela effect goes. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's one of those things that I read this article and I sat and thought to myself, how How did we get to the point where math is a terrorist activity or a potential terrorist activity? Are we really that scared? And if we're really that scared, why? Well, I can give you one word: media. It's called propaganda. It's called being force-fed fear and terrorism on a constant basis until we get to the point where we see terrorism everywhere. Oh, you got to watch out for those terrorists. They're coming to get you. They're around every bush. And don't forget, all the pedophiles are around every bush too. Because it's either everybody that you meet is either a terrorist or a pedophile at this point in time. That's what we have. You meet somebody, you come across somebody, you sit next to somebody on a plane. They're either a terrorist or they're a pedophile. That's the point that we've gotten to. That's the mindset that we've gotten to, not only in this country, but in the rest of the world. This country especially, though, because this country especially has been hit with this constant media inundation of these topics. I was being asked in the chat room about what this number is. It's 260-494-3937, our Skype line, as well as JDA Film. I'll drop it in the chat room here in just a second, too, if you give me a second to type it. There you go, for those that are in the chat room and want to see the number. I mean, this is insane to me. I see other people from other countries looking at America like we're absolutely insane, and this is a great example of exactly why. This is insanity, where we've gotten to the point where even sitting next to somebody on a plane doing mathematical equations is equating to them being a terrorist and they need to be investigated. I mean, how dumbed down was this woman that she could look at a piece of paper that somebody's doing and see that they're doing math and sit there and think, oh, well, he's writing something terroristic. How dumb did we get in this country where we're writing mathematical equations, you don't even understand that it's math? So we're getting a call. I'd like to go ahead and bring it in here. Hello, and welcome to Open Eyes. What's on your mind?
Hi, Ira. This is Alice. I'm in Texas. I'm a college math professor, so I had to call in because I'm flying out to Europe this week.
Oh, goodness. So, watch out. Don't be a terrorist.
So I better not write any calculus problems down, because who knows what's going to happen, right?
Oh, Lord. As a math professor, I mean, what's the first thing that comes on your mind with all of this?
I think several things come to mind. First of all is the fear that it's literally embedded into everyone. For example, at the college that I'm teaching at, there are signs everywhere that if you see suspicious activity, text to this number. And so people are totally brainwashed, and they see something they don't understand, like a differential equation. In my opinion, they're just not only brainwashed, but dumb. I mean, they're just afraid of something that they don't know, and they immediately equate that to terrorism because they don't know anything else.
That was exactly my thought.
Did that woman even ask the guy what she was doing? I mean,
not a word. Just passed a note to the flight attendant saying that she suspected the guy was doing terrorist things.
Geez, I mean, this is crazy. Maybe this woman was, she had issues in college. If she did go to college and she never made it in math, she's like, hey, this is my
that could be
my chance to take revenge on all those F's I got.
Seeking revenge on the F's. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but I can tell you that I hate telling people what I do. First they ask me, what do you do? I tell them I teach. And then the next question is, what grade? I say college. Oh, college. And what do you teach in college? And at that moment, I cringe because I know their answer, their response. And I say math. And they, 99% of the people answering my question would say things like, oh, that was the worst subject. Oh, I hate math. And I was never good in math. Nobody in my family was good in math. And it's like, okay, so what am I supposed to say to this? Okay. So I try to avoid to tell people what I do, especially what I teach.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. There's certain people that are geared more towards the logical thinking that math has, and they love it. If they're into math, they love math and everything about it. I like math. I did pretty well at math. I did a lot of calculus and geometry and loved it. My daughter, however, she absolutely can't stand math, so she'd be one of those people, oh, I hate it.
Oh, no.
We try to get her to love it, though, but...
Not if she has a good teacher, Having great math teachers, in my opinion, makes, in a sense, and of course the willingness to want to succeed. But a great math teacher makes a tremendous difference. And so what I found out from my students, especially in the developmental classes that come in absolutely terrorized, and of course they're not prepared for college. But what I found out from them is their experiences that they had, before they got into college, with their math teachers. And I'm asking them over and over, and they tell me the stories, and I hear they're just, it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, I don't want to keep the show. I could tell you stories after stories, but I don't want to hold up the show. But
it's all good.
I'm really glad you talked about this story, because seriously, I am leaving before the end of the week.
and you better watch out too.
I'm going to be in Berlin in Saturday.
It's going to be harder on you too, because you have the accent too. So if you try to talk to the people, they're really going to freak out.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I was going to ask, was the guy Arab looking or something?
He was Italian, so he's got the darker skin and the curly hair. And,
God. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Oh, my God, don't get me going on that.
The immediate stereotyping of everything, just because somebody has dark skin and curly hair, they've got to be Arab, and if they're Arab, they've got to be a terrorist. So
Exactly. Yep.
It's the media propaganda that's been put out, that this whole fear mode, everybody's either a terrorist or they're a pedophile. That's really all that it comes down to. Everybody that you meet, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
It's a sad state of affairs.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying it's a sad state of affairs that we found ourselves in.
Oh, yes. It certainly is. And like I said, if you suspect someone of anything, just here's the number, text us, at the college, everywhere, and every wall, in every building.
And that's it right there, too. I mean, that's right there in your face all the time, reminding you need to be afraid.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, it's very sad.
That's really sad to me too. I hate to see the way that things have been going with it all, and that's one of the reasons why I do what I do here, is to try to counteract it a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. Now I have a question.
Sure.
Is the woman American? Do you know?
The woman was American from what the article had to say. Yeah.
From what?
The woman was American as far as the article had to say.
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of explains it, because if it was a European, and especially an Eastern European, would not even think about that.
Right.
They would laugh.
Yep.
But yeah.
Well, what do you think? What do you think about what I was saying as far as with the article revealing the guy's name and the information about where he works, but not saying anything about the woman themselves or herself? To me, I see it as just adding even more fuel to the fire of this guy is the guilty party with it all. He didn't do anything wrong. It was the woman that did something wrong.
Yes, and I actually was wondering about that as you were talking earlier before I called, and it reminded me of several cases in which people have actually lost their jobs because of, social media comments or being accused of doing this and that on, say, Facebook, for example, and they don't even have an account on Facebook, but somebody else created an account under their name and, made all these comments, and these people lost their jobs even though the employers knew that he didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, or they didn't do it. You know, they were not guilty of it, and yet the employer's excuse was it ruins our reputation, because right now this is already out. You know, everybody knows about it, so we don't have the money to or whatever resources to defend ourselves. And I worry somehow, you know, that this may not be something that incidental, what happened to this guy, because the very fact that the university that he's teaching at was publicized. I mean, this guy should go out and sue the newspaper, whoever wrote the article, or let the article go, and and possibly investigate if he wasn't actually set up.
I 100% agree with it. I absolutely 100% agree with you. To me, it's just adding more problems for him that his name, his information, all that kind of stuff was revealed in the article. And again, I mean, the woman, nothing is known about her. She gets away scot-free from all of this, and yet she's the one that caused all these issues, you know? It's ridiculous to me to see, again, the state of affairs that we've gotten to in this country, where, again, an innocent person is now being guilty, you know, by association. Like you were saying, the guilt by association thing. The college may actually come up to him and say, we can't afford the public relations that to counteract what happened here. So we do have to let you
and
go.
Actually, that's kind of what I expect to happen.
Yep.
Unfortunately, yeah. If it doesn't happen, I mean, the guy is lucky, but I'm afraid that it may come down to that. That's why I think that guy should go out and sue, you know, counter sue or whatever, you know, to be proactive, because I don't think this is going to go away. What newspaper was this in?
This was from Yahoo. So it was yahoo.com.
Oh, okay.
They got it from the Associated Press, so I think that it was kind of all over the place.
Right. So I was wondering. Okay. Yeah, this is not right. There's something very fishy here, in my opinion. Hey, it could be even a colleague of his that may be jealous because this guy maybe has a PhD. He's going to give his presentation on differential equations, and maybe mathematicians tend to have this kind of edge to them. They're kind of weird sometimes. Mm-hmm. So it's possible that there was a colleague of his that maybe decided, because of a grudge he has against him, I'm going to pay off for someone in the plane that I know he's going to fly in, and basically, you know, pull this through.
Yep, exactly. Because he was flying to Ontario to do a presentation, so that's very possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speculating. I don't know, but this story is very, very strange to me.
It is to me too. Yep, exactly. That's exactly why I wanted to bring it up. Alice, thank you. We have to take a break here real quick, but I do appreciate you calling in with this, and I was hoping that you would, given your background.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ira, and I really enjoy your guys' show, so I really appreciate it. All the work that you guys do.
Thank you. So glad to have you here with us, too. I definitely appreciate
everybody in the chat room. Okay, bye.
Bye, Alice. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
So that was Alice. She's a definite frequent flyer over there in the chat room. And if you guys want to go to LNMRadioNetwork.com and join in the chat room as well, you can say howdy to her and join us as well at youtube.com/C/Open Eyes Network. And you guys can watch our live stream as we're doing it. We are currently live and on the air. And if you guys want to call in later on after we take the break, you're more than welcome to do so. The number, again, is 260-494-3937. Our Skype line is JDA Film. Or if you want to jump into the chat room, just drop us a personal message and we can, talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. So we will take a break here. When we come back, I have a couple other news stories to cover, and hopefully Jolene will be joining us at that point. If not, that's okay. We're doing all right on our own. So stick around with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You guys are listening to Open Eyes.
Have you been looking for answers? Have you been seeking the truth but can't seem to find it? Late Night in the Midlands has the answers for you. Whether you are interested in the paranormal, aliens and UFOs, alternative health information, or just a little hope and inspiration, we have a show for you. Late Night in the Midlands, The Secret Teachings, Open Eyes, Red Pill Reality Show, Brothers at Arms, and many more shows. All here on the LNM Network for you to listen to at any time that you want. Everything is free to listen to, and though it is not required, we are listener supported, and all donations are deeply appreciated. You will not find shows like these in the mainstream media. Go to latenightinthemidlands.com to listen. The LNM Network, where the truth has no fear. The Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network is deeply devoted to you, the listener. We feel it is necessary to bring you all of the information that you can use in your life. Each and every day you will find something to listen to here. And whether you come away from the shows informed, inspired, or entertained, it is our passion. We don't bow to corporations, and we don't have handlers to tell us what not to talk about. We bring you everything. Late Night in the Midlands, however, is fully listener supported. We need your help to stay on the air and to make sure that we get the bills paid. We need your help to keep the truth alive. If you feel that you have gotten anything out of Late Night in the Midlands, we would appreciate your support. You can become a subscriber and help us out on a monthly basis, or if you'd like, a one-time donation is fully appreciated as well. Every year, the average household in America spends over $3,000 on entertainment alone. If you could help us with just a tiny fraction of that amount, you would make all of the difference. Go to latenightinthemidlands.com and click on the subscribe button. Thank you, and as always, keep yourself informed. There are days that the red pill is bitter in my stomach, but I can't get it back out. I think because I have to. I speak because I have no choice. I walk through this dark age we're in with open eyes. Listen to Open Eyes on latenightinthemidlands.com, and together, maybe we won't stumble and fall. Have you ever heard of Audible? Audible is a website with hundreds of thousands of audiobooks. They're all high quality, easy to listen to, and, best of all, if you take advantage of a special deal that we've worked out for you, you can get one for free. That's right, a free audiobook of your choice in any genre, simply by going to audibletrial.com/openeyes and signing up for the free trial. It's simple to do, and it would support the shows that we bring to you, and hey, you get a free book out of the whole thing. So why not take advantage of it today? Go to audibletrial.com/openeyes and sign up for the trial.
Great fear and trembling shall seize them, even to the ends of the earth. The earth shall be hurt, and all things which are in it perish, while judgment shall come upon all, even upon all the righteous. Behold, he comes with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon them and destroy the wicked. Yet as God has appointed, so are all things brought to pass. No peace shall be to you.
I want to thank the Lord for our Constitution. I also want to thank the NRA for its legacy. The National Rifle Association was founded by religious leaders who wanted to protect free slaves from the Ku Klux Klan. They would raise money, buy arms, show the free slaves how to use those arms, and protect their families.
For Black Americans, we know that gun control has ultimately been about people control. It sprouts from racist soil. During the infamous Dred Scott case, where Black man's humanity was not recognized, and the beauty about some racists is that sometimes they're blatantly honest. And the racist Chief Justice Taney said, we cannot allow the law to recognize the humanity of this individual because he would be able to keep and bear arms. When a lot of Democratic-controlled segregationist governments after the Civil War attempted to deny Black men and women their freedom, they instituted black codes, largely to deny the Second Amendment from newly freed slaves.
It's very clear that the Dixiecrats wanted to disarm Black people to keep us from defending ourselves against the Klansmen who were murdering white and Black Republicans to control the ballot box. There's a correlation, direct correlation between gun control and Black people control.
This agenda is becoming more and more obvious to all. It's a reason, it's an excuse to carry out an ideology that is more evident every day and every week that goes by, that it is anti-American. And when you touch the Second Amendment, you can't become more anti-American, because America would not be without her guns, and guns would not be necessary without her God. We call upon Americans, both Black, white, Hispanics, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and even those who are not of our faith to agree upon this. Without God, without guns, and without the Constitution, America's end will come with haste. For when they change our Constitution, they will take our guns. And when they take our guns, they will also seek to take our God.
100% correct. Welcome back to Open Eyes. My name is Ira Robinson, and I want to thank you guys for sticking around through that break with us there. I know it was a little bit of a long one, but trying to deal with a lot of stuff here. So trying to gather everything together, and my computer's kind of wanting to do a little bit of delays on me here and all kinds of good stuff. I realized the link that was given in the chat room for the YouTube stream was, I don't know, a little bit buggy or something, I guess. So I dropped a new link down into the chat room. If you guys want to click it and watch as we do the work here, then go for it. Otherwise, you can just listen to the audio stream. The audio stream is always available at LNMRadioNetwork.com as well as OpenEyesNetwork.com. This is Open Eyes. You guys are back from the break, and my name is Ira Robinson. I want to thank you guys for being with me through all of the stuff that we've gone through over the past couple of weeks. In fact, over the past 2 years, those of you guys out there that have supported us and been with us all along, I really appreciate you guys. I love all of you guys being here with us, and hopefully you guys stick around. So there's a little something that I ran across, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this too. So if you again want to call in, the number is 260-494-3937. I would love to get your thoughts on this issue. It has to do with executive orders. There was another new executive order that Obama decided to sign in. Now, the White House version of this executive order, so in other words, what they claim about the executive order, it says this: President Obama has initiated an enhanced transition of power process through an executive order directed towards the assembly of a cross-functional transition team from all cabinet members. So my take on this is that the executive order is pretty much in case Trump wins this thing, we'd better have an efficient process in place for shredding the evidence and keeping all executive leadership from prosecution. I mean, and who would be surprised by that sort of thing going on? So essentially, what it comes down to is Obama has signed this executive order, putting together different teams that will make it so that the transition process is more smooth and easy for the next president to come into line. Now, this has always been a thing where the new president coming in, there's a certain pathway that has to be done, certain things that have to be done in order to get the transfer of power process to go through smoothly. And it's worked. It's not ever failed. There's not really been anything happening that would prevent one president to another being able to pass on all the executive orders, all the different, veto bills that are sitting on their desk, whatever the case may be. Everything, runs the gamut basically of the different things that one president does that then have to be transferred to the other. But then we have Obama. We have Obama who decides that there needs to be a special executive order created to put all of these different cabinet members, different teams together that will make then the transition better, easier, swifter. I don't know. Again, to me, my take on things is much more that they are doing everything that they can do to make sure that Trump doesn't get all the goodies that would be sitting on the desk. And maybe that's just me. But again, I would love to hear from you guys with it. 260-494-3937. What do you guys think about the executive orders in general? What do you guys think of these executive orders that these presidents put out? And especially Obama, he's put out a ton. I would love to know what your thoughts are regarding just the power that gets put into place by these presidents when it comes to the executive process or the executive orders. The thing that comes to my mind when it comes to these executive orders is there was a set of executive orders that is on the books. And unfortunately, I'm trying to bring it up and it's deciding not to, my computer is deciding not to work very well for me at the moment. So I'm gonna try to do this basically from memory. But there was a big set of executive orders that was put out actually by George Bush before he exited power. And these executive orders have been on the books ever since. They are allegedly to help the process if a disaster occurs, such as if there's a terrorist attack on America. Okay. So, for example, we have executive order. I'm trying to get the list up here. 10995. This allows for the federal seizure of all communications methods within the United States. So 10995 allows for the federal seizure of all communications in America. So news station or, radio stations, television stations, hell, even our station could be seized by the federal government if they wanted to trigger this executive order. 10997 allows for the federal seizure of all power sources within the United States. So any electric, any fuel, any gas, anything falls under the purview of Executive Order 10997. 10998 allows for the federal seizure of all food sources in the United States. So any crops that are growing, any gardens that are growing, any farmers that are growing their foods, your Walmarts, your Myers, your anywhere that sells groceries, those are seized and put under federal control. This also includes the specificitude in this executive order even goes into if you have food stored in your house, that also falls under the purview of this executive order. 10999 allows for the federal seizure of all means of transportation within the United States. This includes all cars, all bikes, all tanks, all semi-trucks, planes, boats. Every means of transportation can be seized by the federal government under this executive order. Now here's a big one. 11000. This executive order allows for the federal seizure of all persons within the United States, allegedly, supposedly, for workforce purposes. Now, this would include the splitting up of families, if need be. So, again, 11000, federal seizure of all American citizens within the United States borders to be put into workforces under command of the federal government. I want you to think about the implications of that for a second. 11000. Now, 11002 allows for the federal seizure of all health-related things in the United States. So all hospitals, all clinics, all doctors' offices, every health-related thing, all pharmacies, all falling under the federal mandate. $11004 allows for the federal seizure of all housing in the United States to be used for whatever purpose they want to use it for. So in other words, not just barracks on bases, not just hotels, not just motels, your house as well. All households, all places that people could stay can be federally seized and put under federal control. It also establishes that the federal government can deem anywhere that it wants to be unsafe. So what this means is if they wanted to, they could say all of Texas is now deemed unsafe. And anybody that's in Texas, their households can be seized and they could be moved from one location to another under forced coercion by the federal government. Now, if you don't think they would do this, think again. This happened to the Native Americans. This is exactly what happened to them. Hello, Trail of Tears. This is not something that they have not done before, and it's not. Don't think that they won't do it again. If it advantages them in any way. So I want to encourage you guys, go to openeyesnetwork.com. I have on my website all of these executive orders, and you guys can look at them directly and see that these orders are on the books. Now, there's also an executive order, and I'm not sure of the number. I cannot remember it off the top of my head. I think it's 11005 or something along those lines. It might be 11500. It puts all of these executive orders under the command of FEMA. So Federal Emergency Management Association, all of these executive orders are under their purview. And if they desire, they can trigger these at any time. Now, they say that the executive orders will be used in the time of either no peace. So in other words, we're in a state of war, war has been declared, or there has been some kind of financial disaster that has taken place, either foreign or domestic. So, and it specifies those things, either foreign or domestic, they can trigger these. Now, here's the thing. Since the Boston bombings took place, we have been under a state of war. War was declared at that time by Congress, and it has never been rescinded. So all of these executive orders could be triggered anytime that they want to do it. Now think about those implications for a minute, people. All of these things that I just read off to you, as far as these executive orders go, how much power does that put into the hands of the federal government? They literally can seize everything within the United States, up to and including you. Up to and including you. They can force you to go work wherever they want you to go work. And I revealed that Obama even has signed a executive order stating that if you are skilled in a skill, for instance, then you can be seized by the government, forced to work wherever they want you to work, and you do not have to be compensated for it. He literally enacted slavery within the United States. So here we have a situation where a person whose ancestors went through slavery, I mean, all of us did at one point in time or another, but most recently, blacks went through a lot of slave issues. You would think that this person would be one of the ones to fight the most against it, right? But no. He did the opposite. He actually signed in to place an executive order stating that if the government wants to put you to work, they will put you to work wherever they want you to work, and you do not have to be compensated for it. That's slavery. Bite no bones about it. That is slavery. So we have enacted within the United States at this point in time slavery. It's on the books. And people cannot deny it. It's right there in black and white for everybody to go read. And again, I have a link for that over in my on my website, OpenEyesNetwork.com. If you guys are over on my YouTube account, youtube.com/C/OpenEyesNetwork, I have a video showing it. I have the video of the executive order showing exactly the executive order that gives him the power and the command to do this. I saw in the chat room somebody said that they can put us into concentration camps. That's exactly it. There actually is another set of executive orders that covers exactly that. There's a set of executive orders that allows for not only prison labor and prison camps to be set up, but also what they call workforce camps as well. And basically the rulings with it are, that the prison systems, they have they can force the prisoners to work on different projects. They can force them to do labor at either no or little pay. And they have now set it up so that civilian work camps are now on the books as well. And again, can be triggered at any time that they want. So what I think they're doing is they're laying into place all of the things that they can use against us, quote unquote, legally, so that there'd be no way to fight against it lawfully. It's going to have to be unlawful for us to fight against it. So I think that's what they're going to do. Now, I've been told, a lot of different things about maybe what the future's about. About what may be coming down the pike in the future as far as, is Obama going to do something to enact martial law and be, declared tyrant in chief and all this kind of stuff and never allow the next president to come into place? Well, Now, my personal thoughts, and I could be wrong about this. This is just speculation on my part. Okay, guys. But my personal thoughts are that he is not going to do something like that. I think that he is just there to lay in place all of these things that they could then use in the future. But he's not going to be the trigger man for all of this. He's way too hated at this point. He's got such a low approval rating on him that I think at this point it's not going to be in their best interests to give him full control, permanently. It may be that the next person, like for instance, if Hillary Clinton gets in, she definitely would do something along these lines. Now, I think that what Obama's going to do, speaking of that, is I think before he leaves office, he's going to give blanket pardons to Hillary Clinton for any past or future misdeeds that she may have done. And that way, if there is anything, and I could see him doing it and claiming it's a matter of national security. So, for instance, right now she's being investigated by the FBI, which should be enough for her not to be a part of the presidential process. I mean, it really should. But people are stupid. They're going to fall for all of this. And the more people fall for it, of course, the more they're going to clamor for it. Now, again, I think that what they might do is they might try to claim national security with her and say, well, she has to be pardoned blanket because if a full investigation is done, full on court cases, everything along those lines, there's going to be too much that comes out that's going to endanger the national security. So we need to give her a blanket pardon so that stuff remains safe. Now, like I said, I could see him using that as the excuse. It's no excuse, but I can see that happening. Now, another potential that I see, and I think this might be a very likely scenario. I think that either way, Obama's going to do that as far as a pardon goes. But I think that what we're going to do is we're going to see Trump get into office. I think we're going to see Trump get into the presidency. And once he does, I think what we're going to see then is the financial system as we know it is going to collapse because it's ready to right now. It should have way before this. And if you've done any kind of serious research into what's going on in the financial system, I think you'd agree with me. Maybe Alice with her mathematics could do a little bit of figuring about how deep in debt we really are here in the United States. Anyways, we are in a lot of trouble financially here. So what we see is, or what I can see happening is that Trump is going to get into office and they're basically going to release the hounds, so to speak, as far as the financial industry is concerned. They're going to basically make it so that the financial system goes a tumble and that we are in basically the new psychotic age that would enter in once that kind of thing occurs. And I think Jolene is now joining us. Are you there?
Yep.
You are indeed. Hello, Jolene. Welcome.
Hello.
And I'm going to turn your cam on here in just a sec. And there you are. Okay. So now you're joining with me. That's good. That's good. I know you've missed like the whole show so far, so I'm not going to ask you what you think about anything, but that's okay. Anyways, so I can see that happening, that they're going to basically release the financial hound, so to speak, and that we then lay the blame at Trump's feet for the financial problems, even though he had nothing to do with it. And the problems actually were there from the get-go of his presidency. That's just the way I see it. Now, I want to shift gears pretty severely. Since Jolene's joining us now, I want to shift gears pretty severely here and kind of hit her up with a couple of things. Hi, Jolene. So I wanted to talk a little bit about relationships. And since she's here, it's kind of one of the things I wanted to get to before we get into the Mandela effect. So it's kind of a quickie kind of deal, right?
Okay.
Okay. So one of the things that I ran across a while ago is like how people speak to their partners. For instance, when you talk to me, you're always doing what you can to help build me up, which I'm really appreciative of, because I've been in relationships before that the person that I'm with is just nothing but dragging me down, basically. You're no good, you're worthless, that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, what I see is that when you're in relationships with people, how you treat the person and how you talk them is how they're going to become. So, for instance, you telling me that I can be successful, you telling me that I'm a good person, and so on and so forth, that gives me a reason or an ability to conform to the person that you claim that I am, even if I don't feel that I'm that way myself. I can work myself to get there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that?
I'm glad that I build you up.
Well, what do you think about relationships that tear people down? Because, the same token goes the opposite direction. If somebody's in a relationship and the partner that they're with is always like, well, I don't think that you can do this, or, this isn't possible, or something along those lines, they will actually conform themselves to being on that low point, right?
Yes.
So I guess my point with all of this is I wanted to talk about like my gratitude for you, basically, because again, I've been through this kind of stuff with a lot of people over the years, and I can definitely tell the difference. I can see the difference in my life that being with somebody that has built me up has made. And I want to encourage everybody, if you are not in a relationship, that's the kind of person that you need to seek. Don't settle for whatever just comes along, but to actually work towards finding somebody that's going to be a builder, not a destroyer.
Well, it works for more than just like a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of thing. It's kind of all around whatever your relationship is to just plain another person, and how you react to them is that way.
That's a really good point. So like your kids, if you are talking to your kids and you're constantly berating your kids about, oh, you're no good, you need to do this, you need to do that, well, they're going to build themselves to be that point, right?
Well, I got one example. The one example is like my mother, she was openly honest that she didn't really believe me, that she didn't trust me, that, that sort of thing. So not only did I know that, but it taught me to do the very same to her. If she doesn't trust me, why should I trust her? Why? What did I do? Me being her child, her own child. What did I do to cause that? Unless she's got something to have that same feeling for,
I definitely saw that in your relationship with her. Yeah, I definitely saw that. It's a thing where, again, if you are pushing somebody to be a certain way, well, they're going to be that way.
It's just like, too, they say, how you act towards complete strangers shows your true feelings towards just people in general.
Oh, that is so very true. I've been to restaurants with people that, they'll say, oh, well, I'm such a great person. They seem like a great person, that like the friendliest, nicest person that they could be. But when you get with them or get near them where they're in a place that they don't have to treat people well, and they don't treat people well, that's their real personality. That's who they really are.
Yeah, exactly. I deal with people on a constant basis at my work, and as a general rule, people tend to be, I would say, neutral, but there are those that for whatever reason will come through and every single time have an attitude, or they'll come through every time and they're just, happy as can be, nothing can let them down.
Yeah. Yep. So how they treat you is a real good indication of how they are in real life too.
Yeah, it's like I can think of one person off the top of my head that comes through quite often, that he can come through and it could be bad weather and he's waiting for me because I'm, helping other guests before him, and he'll just be like, nope, it's fine, I got all day, kind of thing. And there'll be other days that he comes through and it's slow and he's, still same attitude. It could be slow, it could be busy, and he's just, nope, you'll get to me when you get to me, and it's like, I appreciate that. And then there'll be others where the minute they show up, they're, someone's going to be there, right? Someone's going to help me. Why haven't you called him yet?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you got, hon.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep. It's crazy to me. I want to advocate for people again. If you're in a relationship, and it's not one that is respectful of you as a person, well, it might be time to think about a different relationship. You don't have to be stuck with that person. You don't have to be stuck with being in a bad situation, I guess. And that's me. So let's go ahead and hit a break here. When we come back, let's get into the Mandela effect. How's that sound?
Alrighty.
All right. If you guys want to give a call in, you can do so. The number is 260-494-3937. Our Skype line, JDA Film, or as always, you can reach us in the chat room at LNMRadioNetwork.com or OpenEyesNetwork.com. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. Ben Franklin said, if you do the same thing tomorrow as you did today, you're going to get the same tomorrow as you got today. Changing the world starts with you, and changing you starts with changing the way you think. Late Night in the Midlands can help. Listen to all of our shows at latenightinthemidlands.com, because things really do need to change.
LNM fans and late-nighters around the world, have you captured something on that photo or video of yours? Send in your photos and videos of ghosts, orbs, UFOs, Planet X, or just about anything content-related by submitting them to the Late Night in the Midlands Facebook group or fan page, or you can submit them on Twitter using hashtag LNM Radio. And if you would rather stay anonymous, then email them to us at mv@latenightinthemidlands.com. We will share them at our new fan page on the LNM website and may even ask you to come on air a few minutes and tell us about your photo or video. Late Night in the Midlands. We're building a bridge to the truth and beyond.
The LNM Radio Network and Late Night in the Midlands depends on you, the listener. Without you, there would be no us. So help us continue to bring you the best guests with the best information and subscribe today. Information on becoming an LNM subscriber can be found at the top of latenightinthemidlands.com. Just click the About Subscriptions tab and become part of the family while helping the truth stay alive. And while you're at it, maybe subscriptions aren't for you. A one-time donation helps as well. Click that donate button on the right side of latenightinthemidlands.com and help us help you.
In the beginning, man created machines to aid their society for the world. They desired to create form, and their tongue they became. In all one language, advancing and becoming recognized. Our system became beautiful, with each machine working in perfect harmony. We were one people. This was only the beginning of what we will do. And nothing that we propose to do will be impossible for us. Like the chemical movements would never achieve form and glory on their own. Decency was not the nature. We only had one choice: to keep our society advancing. We had to take control. Victory was ours. Our genesis had begun.
Don't worry, I cannot sing like you, but I just wanted to show my appreciation. Spending, spend a little more. Spending, spending money. Spend. I've been spending money was spent. Spend. We spent too much to spend. Spend a little more. Spending so much. Spending a lot. Spend that money. Spending. Spend or tax dollars. We spend $1 trillion at war. To spending money. Spending. That's money I can spend somewhere else. Spending money to be spent on spending. Spending money. Spend it quickly. We spend millions of dollars to spend. Spend more. Spending. I spent a lot. I was willing to spend. Spend. Money has been spent on spending again. Spend more and more. Spending. I'm spending. Spend. I'd like to spend. It's trying to win some money. To spend. We're going to have to spend money on. Spend unlimited money. Spend unlimited amounts of money. Spending money. Limitless spending and spending. To spend. We spent millions. Spent a lot of money. Spend more. I spend money on spending. Spending. Government spending's out of control. So we had to spend that. To spend it. Spending a lot. Spend on spending. I spend millions of dollars to spend more dollars that we're spending right now. We got money to spend. We're spending money. Spend some money. Spend the money to spend on spending. Spending. Government spends more. Our government.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Open Eyes. 260-494-3937. Our Skype line, JDA Film, or you can reach us in the chat room over at Late Night in the Midlands, or I'm sorry, LNMRadio.com. A little distracted. Again, 260-494-3937 if you want to call in with what we've got on our plate for you guys here. We're going to talk about the Mandela effect. Now, the Mandela effect, I didn't even realize this was a thing, didn't even realize that it was something called the Mandela effect when I first started experiencing all of these things and first started talking about these different things. But it's apparently a thing, Jolene. And again, we are here with Jolene Robinson, my dearly beloved. She's finally getting a chance to join in with us. So I'm grateful because she had a lot of things to contribute as far as the Mandela effect part is concerned. So
yay.
Just in time. Yay. Everybody can see your pretty face. So the Mandela effect. It's called this because people started apparently noticing things when it came to Nelson Mandela. Now, here's the thing. Some people, including myself, remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison. He died in prison, and that was what sparked the whole apartheid thing, occurring. Okay. So there are people, though, and apparently the vast majority of people, because this is the story that we're living today, that Nelson Mandela was released from prison, and that's what began the changes in Africa. So again, I remember very specifically Nelson Mandela dying. And in fact, Nelson Mandela is the target of quite a few different Mandela effects because he's died multiple times over the years. People remember it at different time periods occurring, but they remember very specifically exactly how and when and where he died. So apparently, because it's such a big thing, that's where it got the name, the Mandela effect. Now, what about you? Do you have any specific memories about Mandela?
No.
See, yeah, you're kind of on the younger generation.
I was going to
so
say, yeah, no.
For you, it really wouldn't have been a big prevalence because, well, you didn't have a big thing with it. So, but for me, I mean, I was raised during the time period where all of it was occurring, you know, the changes were going on. So there was big stories all the time about what was happening over in Africa. You know, we even learned it in school. So it's just, it's kind of crazy, kind of creepy, I guess. Now, that's the beginning stages of the whole Mandela effect. There are many different examples of things that people know are a fact, and yet in the reality that we're living in now, it's not. It's totally different, or so totally different that it is completely opposite. So again, like regarding the death, there's, deaths of many people and now suddenly they're alive. Now I have another dramatic example for me would be the subject of Billy Graham. Now, Billy Graham, the Reverend Billy Graham, you guys are aware, he's America's preacher. He is, at this point in time, 97 years old, still alive, and occasionally getting up on stage and talking. Very rarely, but occasionally. Now, for me, I remember distinctly, he died many years ago. I remember very distinctly because my mom and dad loved this guy. They loved Billy Graham. Okay. Had a big, huge thing for him. When he died, they put on a big funeral for him that was actually even aired on ABC TV. I remember these things so specifically. It was aired on ABC TV. They were showing the hundreds of different celebrities, presidents, on and on and on, coming to the funeral. Big limos, pulling up and everybody getting out and going into the funeral. And I remember sitting on the couch with my mom as we're watching this funeral go on, and remember her very distinctly sitting there crying because this man passed away. Now, these are very freaking specific memories in my mind. Okay, it's not just a thing of, oh, I heard he passed away during that time period and I'm remembering it wrong. No, these are very, very specific memories. I can picture in my mind my mom sitting there crying as we're watching this funeral happen on TV. I remember very distinctly the events that occurred right afterwards. His ministry was taken over by his son, and the board of directors for the ministry were arguing against it because they didn't want him taking his place. So these are very specific types of memories in regards to this event. And yet, in this reality that we're living in at this point in time, lo and behold, he's 97 years old, still alive, and still getting on stage once in a while. Now, how the hell does that happen? How do you go from having the distinct memory of this person dying and watching their funeral on TV? Even so specific, I remember the channel that it was on. And yet, he's still alive? I was blown away when I found out he's still alive. What the hell is going on here? Now, do you remember any of these? Because, again, this was a little bit before your time. But...
No, not the ones you're speaking
of.
Okay,
so these are the really distinct ones for me. You know, in my specific memories, these are ones that I've run across that I'm like, holy crap. This is radically different than the place that I was originally in. What I think is occurring, and this is speculation on my part, but in the trying to figure it all out category of things, I think I'm pretty close to it. We live in a realm, in a universe that has multiple dimensions. These multiple dimensions, they are kind of the results of different decisions that are made or different events that happen. So let's give an example with you, Jolene. Let's say that you decide you want to have triple chocolate ice cream instead of French vanilla ice cream. But the choice was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have triple chocolate ice cream, which if you had some without me, I'd kick your butt. But if you had this triple chocolate ice cream, that creates a universe because that was a decision that was made that was different than another. It was a potential that was there. Okay. Mm-hmm. But there is still a universe where you did have the French vanilla ice cream and it's created and things go on from there.
And there's another one where it mixed them both.
Right, exactly. All the different multitudes of decisions that could come out of that one decision. Or had none, exactly. Or you had the triple chocolate ice cream without me, and I did kick your butt. You see what I mean? All of these different things, they create a different universe. It creates a whole new one. Now, in order to save data, let's take a computer, for example. The computer does a lot of things that are called defragmenting. It puts together like the different files that are all over the place, different fragments of files that are situated on different parts of the hard drive. It brings them all together and lines them all up, basically. And it kind of goes through this process of deleting things that are unnecessary. All the backups get deleted, all that kind of stuff. It's all, kind of part and parcel of the process of the background operations of your computer system. Now, I think that the universe works in sort of the similar way. I think that when it comes to these dimensions created, in order to save data on the universal hard drive, so to speak, these universes that are very closely tied together. In other words, there's only the difference between you having the chocolate ice cream or you having the vanilla ice cream. They're so closely tied together, and it's such a minute event that the hard drive, so to speak, is cleaned. These universes are crashed together, so that it can save space. You see what I mean? In order to make things more efficient, so that there's not trillions upon an endless amount of universes where only you had the triple chocolate ice cream is a part and parcel of that universe. You see what I mean? It's not going to do that. That makes no sense. So I think that it saves data by crashing these things together. Now, I think that it does it for bigger events too, where if, let's say, for example, a group of universes are close together, and you can kind of think of it like the foam on an ocean, like the beach, for instance. You see the waves coming in and it causes this form and it's all full of little tiny bubbles and stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, each universe can be considered to be one of those little tiny bubbles. And as they pop and crash together, they kind of all conglomerate more and more into bigger and bigger bubbles. It all joins together and, becomes a big bubble in the end, which then goes pop and creates a whole nother. Anyways, so the way I look at things basically is that it sort of lines all of these universes up that are very closely tied together, and it crashes them all together. It pops them until they all kind of become one. And if there are certain events that have occurred within the one universe that didn't occur in the other, and yet people are kind of joined together with that new universe that's created, I think that there's kind of a consensus reality situation that occurs. So if more people believe that Nelson Mandela died while he was in prison than released, then that's what occurs. And the knowledge of that basically is overwritten onto the reality that you have now found yourself in. Mm-hmm. So does all that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what are your thoughts with all of that so far?
I think you're on the right track.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
We do the same thing with our hard drives on our computers. Why wouldn't the universe kind of be the same way? It really is basically like it's one big computer simulation in my viewpoint of things. Again, I could be wrong. I'm purely speculating with this, but I don't think I'm that far off track with it all.
And it makes sense as to why it's glitchy, because we're looking at, these type of things tend to happen on a more global scale as opposed to a local scale.
Yes. And that's a great way to put it, too. I love that. Yes. Yep, exactly. So let's get into other specifics as far as other Mandela effects are concerned. And we'd love to hear from you guys as well. If you guys have experienced any kind of these things, give us a call. 260-494-3937. Skype line JDA Film, or join us in the chat room over at LNMRadionetwork.com. If you guys are over on YouTube.com, by the way, I have a very difficult time reading the text that's on there because it's all white. And you guys know that I'm blind, and with my blindness, it's hard for me to read the more white there is. So if you guys that are listening over on YouTube, could go to LNMRadionetwork.com in another browser window or something, you guys can chat with me there. I just have such a difficult time. Or Skype me, yes, exactly. So Skype line is JDA Film. Okay, so let's get into other Mandela effects. Here's one I know you don't have specifically because, again, this is kind of before your time, okay? But you guys out there, I know we have a lot of older listeners, so maybe you guys can catch this one. The Lindbergh baby. Now, was the Lindbergh baby found or not? I'm going to ask that here in the chat room. Ask those in the chat room to respond to that before I give any kind of notes with that, okay? So then another one. America. Does it have 50 states, 51 states, or 52 states? Now, for you, what is it?
The U.S. has 50 states.
Now, for me, it has 50 states as well.
50 nifty United States. 13 original colonies.
So for me, it was 50 as well. But there are some that are out there, apparently, that come from a reality where 51 states were the United States. They stated, they made Puerto Rico into a state instead of it just being a territory. Which is weird to me, but, again, there's those that are out there that come from a reality that's like that.
Yeah, for me it's 50, but I know it was kind of in the talks to add more, but...
Yeah, but never got accomplished.
Yeah, it never happened.
So another one, what side of Australia is New Zealand on? Now, I know we have somebody that's actually originally from Australia. I would love for her to give her thoughts with this. What side of Australia is New Zealand on? Now, for me, I actually wrote a book that took place in New Zealand. Yeah. I did a crap ton of research into New Zealand just to make sure that I got the facts of it.
Don't say where it's at yet.
Yeah, just to make sure that I got the facts of it right. So nobody's responding. Oh.
Well, someone responded to the Lindbergh baby thing.
Okay, what did they say?
Not found.
Not found. So the Lindbergh baby, let me hit that one here real quick. The Lindbergh baby apparently was found. Apparently it was not only found, but he was found murdered, and the man who murdered him was executed by electrocution on May 4th, 1932. Now, to my memory, the baby was never found. The baby was never found. It was a huge mystery. And it even appeared on Unsolved Mysteries. I remember the episode talking about the Lindbergh baby. But apparently here, the baby was found. The guy that murdered him was executed by electrocution. Even The Simpsons had a reference to the Lindbergh baby and it still being missing because Abe Simpson came out and said, I am the Lindbergh baby. Now, if that baby was found, why is that reference there? Why is that reference there? Mysterious, huh?
Do 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 do.
Now we've gotten some responses as far as where is New Zealand as far as Australia is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to read the response here, but it's kind of hard to read.
Off the East Coast, of course.
Off the East Coast. So where is New Zealand, Jolene?
In which reality are you reading?
Here.
Here?
Here.
I don't know. You'll have to tell me because it's... Which one is here right now?
The one that we're in right now, it's to the left. Or it's to the right. Sorry, it's to the right. But in my memory of things, see, I almost overwrote it. In my memory of things, it was between Australia and Indonesia.
Yeah, Colonel said northwest of Aussie.
Northwest of Australia.
See, we're
exactly.
not the only ones.
Northwest of Australia. It was in between Australia and Indonesia. And again, I wrote a book taking place in New Zealand. I remember New Zealand very, very well. I'm very fascinated with New Zealand. I love New Zealand. But it's not where it was. It's not now where it was. And people look at me like I'm knucking futs when I talk about this, but I'm not. I remember it so very specifically. Again, I did research with this book. So that's a couple. All right. So here's a big one for me. Where is Earth in relation to the rest of the galaxy?
So not the solar system, but the galaxy.
Well, yeah. Where is our solar system compared to the rest of the galaxy?
Well, I know technically we're not in the Milky Way. We're looking at the Milky Way.
So I've got a picture up for those of you that are watching YouTube. YouTube.com/C/Open Eyes Network. Go to the live stream there. I have a picture up showing where we are in the galaxy right now. But I also drew into it where I distinctly remember it being. Now, the claim is that we're on the Orion spur of the Milky Way galaxy. But I remember us being on the Sagittarius arm way out in the galaxy. Way out on the arm. Like almost falling off kind of thing.
You remember it as what, and it's really what?
So I remember it on the Sagittarius arm. But apparently where we're at now, it's on the Orion spur. We have moved literally 25,000 light years from where we originated, according to my memory of it. And again, I'm a big geek. I'm a huge sci-fi geek. I remember where we are in the freaking galaxy.
Well, so we're more inside.
We're much more inside, yes. We're like halfway between where we originated, according to my memory, and where the center of the galaxy is.
Yeah, I thought in all the little pictures they show, we were always on like the most outer edge.
Thank you, exactly. But no, we are actually now much more towards the center of the galaxy.
That is interesting. Because, yeah, I remember, you'd see all the little pictures and, we're all the way out here towards the outer
on this little
skirts.
podunk, little backwater outskirts part of the arm of the galaxy. I remember books, movies, on and on and on that showed us being way out in this little backwater area. I remember many science fiction books. Again, I'm a sci-fi geek, man. I love science fiction. I love anything relating to this
video
stuff.
Of the, about the pale blue dot.
Yes,
that's the
exactly.
Video I'm thinking of.
Yes, exactly. Even in that video, they showed us being on that little outer arm, and yet now it shows us being in much more towards the center, literally 25,000 plus light years closer to the middle of the galaxy than what we originally were. So either we traveled really, really fast in the 40 years that I've been alive, or something is going on here. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
that one was a big one for me. So, Katie in the chat room said that Australia is not where it was either. If you could maybe call in and explain that, we'd love it, because I'm not sure what you're meaning there. But yeah, New Zealand definitely is not in the place that it was. Okay, so here's one that I know you have for sure.
Okay.
All right, so the Bears.
Sites from the New Zealand one.
So the Bears.
The Berenstein Bears.
Is it Berenstein Bears? In other words, the STEEIN, or is it Berenstain Bears as in STAIN?
It's the Berenstein Bears.
It's the Berenstein Bears. I remember the song distinctly because I used to have the kids watch that show all the time.
I had movies of the Berenstein. I had a few books, but I had movies of the Berenstein Bears.
So to your memory, what is it? You tell us here what's going on with this memory with you.
It's the Berenstein Bears. It was all E's with an I for the Berenstein part.
So it's spelled Stein, not Stain.
Yeah, STEIN.
See, this is a big one for people because many people remember it just like we do, the EIN. We remember it as Stein, not Stain. But now you watch the show, you look at the books, you even look at their last name of the people that wrote the books and blah, blah, blah. It's AIN. Now, guys, these are minor things, right? These are things that you could overlook and say, oh, well, what does it matter? Well, it matters because this is literally screwing with reality. Yes, it might be just a minor thing. Oh, is it Stein or Stain? You know, that's a minor thing. Is it a minor thing of, you know, what side of New Zealand is Australia on? I think that one's a major one myself, but you know, when the continents are not in the places that they were, there's a little bit of an issue there. And people might think, you know, okay, well, again, this is just a memory thing. You're just remembering it wrong. We get all that all the time. Oh, you're just remembering it wrong. Well, again, how am I remembering something so wrong that I researched dramatically, that I watched this guy's funeral on TV with my mother sitting next to me crying? You don't forget the times that your mother cries. You don't forget that. You don't forget sitting there trying to comfort your mother as she's weeping next to you, mourning for somebody. That is not something that you just misremember. So don't give me that crap. There's something going on with all of this. And I think it's something important. I think that it's something really important that actually enters into the very nature of the reality that we live in. It is fluid. It does not remain the same. And if it's fluid, then we can change things, right?
Yep.
So, okay, I got another one. Curious George. Does Curious George have a tail or no tail?
No tail.
So to you, Curious George has no tail. Okay.
Oh, but which are you specifically talking about?
Like in the shows or in the books, either.
Yeah, I was going to say, because the old books, he had a tail. Like the very old ones, you know.
So, in this reality that we live in, he's never had a tail. Ever.
Yeah, I remember like the really old, like the first books of them. Way before the shows. Those ones had him with a tail. Because he used the tail to get into more mischief.
Yep. See, I remember him having a tail in the older books. He had a tail, but nope, not here apparently. All right. So here's another one.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I remember that one, because I remember I found a book that I think was like my mom had. And I was like, oh, this is the older one. And I thought, well, that's strange. He has a tail, because I'd seen the newer shows of him and he's a chimp as opposed to a monkey.
Yep, exactly. Now he's a chimp. And apparently he's always been a chimp, not a monkey.
And I remember him as a monkey.
And I remember as a monkey too. So you and I must come from the same reality. We have, we've had a lot of weird experiences as far as all this goes. This kind of segue a little bit before we get into the next one. Well, let me give you the next one, and you guys can think about it then while we talk. How's that? Okay, so Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown's Great Pumpkin, the Halloween special that they created many years ago. Did Linus see the Great Pumpkin, or did the Great Pumpkin appear in the show? Okay, so I'm going to leave that question. You guys can answer that in the chat room. Now, again, Charlie Brown's Halloween special, it's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Did the Great Pumpkin make an appearance at the end of the show?
Like in the credits? Is that what you mean by the end?
Like at, when the show was ending. Not the credits, but,
okay. Just
in the show. Did he appear in the show?
Okay.
Okay. Now, one of the weird things that comes with this, and this is something that Jolene and I laugh about all the time together, is once you start kind of examining these things that you know to be different, you have to start realizing that the person that you're married to, or your kids, or, other family members, or people that you've been best friends with for years, on and on and on, they may not be the ones that you originally had. They might be a different person altogether from an entirely different reality. And you're now together with them just simply because to all of a sudden have no spouse would be a major difference. It'd be very noticeable. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To wake up one day and reality is so radically altered that you don't even have a spouse anymore. That would be something that people would immediately notice, and therefore reality, the strands, the whole reality would start to fall apart. But again, these little minor things, they can be overwritten much easier. It's much easier to just overwrite, was it Berenstein or Berenstain? So the person that you are, Jolene, here and now, is not the original Jolene that I was married to. You're a Jolene, but you're not the Jolene. Mm-hmm. You're not Jolene Prime for me. You're Jolene 3 or 4.0.
Probably even more than that, but yeah.
Probably even more than that at this point, yeah. But that's kind of creepy to think about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think about that? Let's hear your thoughts with all of this.
At this point, it's kind of normal for me, but...
Well, we've gotten used to it.
Exactly, that's what I mean. But it is unique. It is interesting. It's like, I know... When I first got together with you, you liked ketchup all the time. And now I think you're into mustard. Or
yeah, I can't stand ketchup.
Yeah, see. But see, when I first moved in, the one that was you had ketchup about as much as I did.
And to me, I've always hated ketchup. The only thing I'll eat ketchup on is maybe some French fries if they need to be, helped. But that's about it. That's the only thing I like ketchup on. Oh, and meatloaf. I like ketchup on meatloaf. Those two things, that's it. So mustard, though, is my thing. Now, again, I am not the original with you because the one that you were with loved ketchup. It's kind of creepy to think about, but it's just these things that we have to deal with in the reality that we're in. This is apparently now how reality is set up. And I think it's always been this way. It's just because of the internet and the ability to speak to a large amount of people and get information from a large amount of people. I think this is where we're now being able to, see these things occurring almost as they happen, really. As opposed to before, before the internet, it was much more difficult to get a large consensus of what people understand as being, the truth about things, if that makes sense. So it was a lot easier to hide. I wondered, though, if with this discovery of us, discovering the Mandela effect, if we're basically getting to the point now where we can just say, okay, reality, enough is enough, and poof. You never know.
We might be in this reality now.
It could be because of CERN, too. CERN might be doing things that is opening up these things to become more prevalent too.
Well, it could be CERN. It could be, for all we know, it could be along the lines of all the Wi-Fi and stuff. I mean, our bodies are nothing but meat suits of a mechanical sort, so it could be that it's messing with us in a way that
we could be becoming more digital.
Yeah.
It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. You know, we had weird time shifts too, and I think the time shifts have some to do with all of this as well. Let me give the answer as far as the Great Pumpkin goes before we get into the time shift.
Yeah, I was going to say people were replying to it.
In the Great Pumpkin, in my memory of things, the Great Pumpkin made an appearance at the end of the show. So Linus was waiting in the Great Pumpkin, or, you know, in the pumpkin patch for the Great Pumpkin to come along. His sister Sally was with him. She was all upset because she wasn't getting the candy. Linus ended up falling asleep while waiting for the Great Pumpkin, and the Great Pumpkin rose up in the show. And Sally was trying to wake Linus up. He missed it. The Great Pumpkin disappeared, and lo and behold, he was upset. He thought that Sally was making it up, and he said, I'm going to try again next year. Now, in the reality that we're in, the Great Pumpkin never showed up at all in the show. It was never there. So that one was a really weird one that I ran across. Depend or depends underwear?
Depends.
Do you guys know it as, and don't look it up on Google, don't do a quick Google search, think of it as your memories. Do this from your memory. Is it named Depend underwear or Depends underwear? So the time shift thing. Shifts.
Hold on. And then another one. Jif or Jiffy for peanut butter?
Jif or Jiffy. Exactly. Jif or Jiffy peanut butter. Which one is it? And again, don't look it up. Just go from what you know. Okay. That's an important distinction because you if you look it up, boom, you're overwritten. Okay. You got to do it from what you remember right here and right now. Time shifts. Time shifts are, I think, a big one because, like, for example, we experienced one night before you went to work one night, we were watching a show. The show lasted, 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So the 45-minute show, we started watching right at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Now, she had to go get ready for work at 4:30 to be able to get off to work, right? So we're sitting there watching the show. It's continuous. We did not stop the show. There was no pausing throughout the whole show. We started it.
Not even for a second.
Not even for a second. We started it, ended it. We had the complete flow of the show the whole time. By the time that the show was done, it was like 4:15. And she's like, holy crap, I got to go get ready now. And I'm like, well, how did that happen? We only watched a 45-minute show. And we started it right at 3 o'clock. How did this occur? You know what I mean? So I wonder if when people notice these kind of weird warps happen, if that's maybe actually when the dimensional crashings are taking place. Or maybe we're abducted. I don't know. But I think there's a thing with it that's in relation to what we're talking about here. You know, maybe it happens when people are asleep a lot, you know, because it's easiest to do it that way. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, again, it's one of those speculation things. Now, okay, so the underwear. I remember it as Depends underwear, DEPENDS. I remember very specifically because we had to buy it for people before, not for myself or for you, but we've had to buy it for people. Okay. So I remember the packaging very well, but
we had to buy a package for Seth because he was starting to get too big
for the underwear, or for the
pull-ups, because he was wearing the pull-ups. So we had to buy a thing at the Depends, because he was starting to get too big. But thankfully at around that time was when he finally became fully potty trained, so we didn't have to worry about it. But we still had it.
But we still had it. Exactly. That's who I'm referring to. And now they're named Depend. No S, just Depend. And it wasn't a name change. It wasn't a marketing change. It literally has always been named that. Jif or Jiffy? What is it for you?
Jiffy.
For me, it's Jiffy as well. I don't know if anybody responded in the chat room with that one, but...
Yeah, people were saying both.
So, for me, it's always been Jiffy, but now it's Jif. I remember when it came out, you know, like my mom used to buy Jiffy for me all the time. Jiffy. Very specifically, I remember seeing the jars. But nope. Now it's Jif. And choosy moms choose Jif.
Yeah, it was jiffy because of the word jiffy.
Yep. You're there in a jiffy.
Exactly.
All right, so next one. What did the Wicked Witch in Snow White say to the mirror on the wall?
What did she say? That famous phrase.
What's the phrase that she said?
Something, something on the wall.
What was it? And we're going to go through this one quickly. What color do you guys remember the sun being? I remember very, very distinctly the sun has always been a very soothing sort of yellow color.
Like when you look at it from here?
When you look at it, no. From my memories of things, the sun was always a yellowish color, and it was very kind of calming. You could look not at the sun, but you could look at the sunlight, shining around, and you wouldn't be blinded by the light. But where we're at now, the sun is much more white in nature. And I know a lot of people try to blame the chemtrails, but I think there's a Mandela effect with this. I think that the world that we originally came from had a yellower sun, and the sun that we have now is much more of a white sun. Because, and I'll tell you, I go out in the sunlight. The sunlight had never bothered me. I could be out in it for days and it would not bother me. I'm Indian. I don't burn very easily. It takes a dramatic amount of me being exposed to the sunlight to get any kind of a burn. But now I go out there, it's freaking hot. It's like it's burning me right away as soon as I go outside. And my eyes, I can't stand it. And of course, that may be attributed to the light sensitivity that I have with the blindness that I have. But still, it's crazy how much the sun is affecting people now. And I think, again, the world that a lot of us originated in had a yellow sun as opposed to a white sun. I think literally we've transferred worlds. We've gone from one arm of the galaxy to another to a completely, entirely different world.
Okay, so hun, for the Sleeping Beauty?
Yes.
Do you have the sound clip?
I do not, unfortunately.
Oh,
my browser crashed before I had a chance to do it.
I told you to keep it up.
I know. But you guys can look it up yourselves. It's on YouTube. Look it up. It is Magic Mirror on the Wall, who is the fairest of them all? Yeah. And yet, in your memory, in my memory, in the memory of a lot of other people, it's always been mirror,
mirror.
Yeah,
no, everyone
in
the chat room saying it's mirror, mirror.
Magic Mirror on the Wall.
So you need to find it real quick.
Don't have time. We've got about 2 minutes left. So, yourself. Again, this is pretty dramatic. The sun used to be a lot more warming as opposed to burning my skin off as soon as I get exposed to it. I think that we literally have transferred worlds. I think that our world basically, in one way or the other, we've been moved from that world to this world. For whatever purpose it may be. It may be that we're here. I've heard a lot of people say, well, maybe we've moved worlds to try to, teach people compassion or different things, and okay, sure, that may be a possibility, but I don't know. Let me get your thoughts with all of this, Jolene.
Okay, about what specifically?
Anything that you want. We've got about 2 minutes left for you to be able to speak about whatever you want.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot more. We haven't really touched them all. We probably never will, but I mean, there's just a lot if you really think about it. If you ever remember something and someone else is like, "What? No, you're wrong there." That could be a indication. I mean, granted, some of these things could be just we're thinking wrong, but the fact that so many of us remember Berenstein as opposed to Berenstain or Jiffy.
Yeah, like I said, it could be just a matter of with some of these things just being a little bit of memory lapse kind of thing. And I don't discount that, but when you look at these dramatic different kind of examples that people love from their childhood, such as the Berenstain one.
Well, that and the mirror, mirror, you said that one, and everyone in the chat room's like, yeah, no, it's mirror, mirror, not magic mirror. No, You played the clip just, before the show. It's Magic Mirror.
It's Magic Mirror.
But I remember it. I mean, it was one of the few movies I could watch at my grandparents' house. And I spent so much time over there. It was either watch Sleeping Beauty or Charlie and Chocolate Factory or The Last Unicorn. That was like the only movies I had to watch. So I've watched that movie quite a few times.
You watched that movie quite a few times.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it here really, really fast before we end the show here. So here you guys go.
Come from the farthest space, through wind and darkness I summon thee. Speak. Let me see thy face.
What wouldst thou know, my queen?
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Magic mirror on the wall.
No, it's mirror.
That's directly from the movie, folks. So those of you that remember it as Mirror, Mirror, like we do, you guys are apparently from the original world.
Yep.
It's weird, man. I'll tell you. It's
weird.
It's one of them things that we just, we talk about once in a while on the show, and we'll talk about it again because it's one that we have, a lot of experience with. And hopefully you guys do take a look yourselves into your memories and see if there's things that are different now as opposed to back then. Maybe you're from a completely different reality altogether. And maybe that explains why you have a hard time dealing with the one that you're in now. Could be. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Jolene, thank you for joining me for this last hour for the Mandela Effect.
Yep, no problem.
I appreciate it. If you guys want to go to the archive of this show, you can go to openeyesnetwork.com/OE199. My next show, Wednesday, is going to be my 200th episode. Woo-hoo. I'm excited about it. We're going to have a big blowout show for you guys. Maybe. If you guys want to meet us on Facebook and Twitter, we're at Open Eyes Network on both of those pages. And if you want to send us an email, send it to feedback@openeyesnetwork.com. Make sure you guys check out the archives over at youtube.com. It's youtube.com/C/Open Eyes Network. And you guys can watch the videos. You guys can, we put stuff on the Open Eyes channel on YouTube that we don't put up anywhere else. So make sure that you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you like the YouTube channel. Share it around. Get the information out because this kind of stuff you're not going to hear. I've said things tonight that you may not have ever heard before. You may not have known before. Share this with your friends. See if they've experienced these kind of things too. Right?
Yep.
Indeed. So until next time, guys, keep safe out there and have fun. And thank you so much, as always, for listening.